Welcome to the KBB Review podcast, and this, the penultimate episode in our special bonus series all about the KBB Review Retail and Design Awards 2023. There's now only a few days to go before the big night in Cardiff on April the 20th, and the final episode in this series will be coming from the event itself, where hopefully I'll be catching up with winners, judges, and any other industry bobs I can pin down. But for today, we're meeting another couple of finalists, and this time we're at the sharp end of the retail categories with Sofia Bune from Sola Kitchens in London. They're up for Kitchen Showroom of the Year for their new Wigmore Street site, and Michael Queen from Thistle KItchens and Bathrooms in Aberdeen. They're on the shortlist for Bathroom Retailer of the Year. We'll be hearing all about what makes their businesses tick as they talk to KBB Review editor Rebecca Nottingham. And as always, here's the all-important caveat. Just because they're on the podcast doesn't mean they've won. But before I hand over to Rebecca, a massive thank you as always to our awards podcast partner for 2023, Sola Bathrooms. Their very generous support is making this special series happen, and if you're unfamiliar with them, they're a very well established and successful supplier in their native island, and they've just launched over here in the UK. They're definitely one to watch, so thank you again to them, and you can find out all about them at solasbathrooms.co.uk. I'll put that link in the episode description. And so now it's over to KBB Review editor Rebecca Nottingham.
So welcome to the KBB Review podcast. First up today, we have Sofia Bune, the founder of Sola Kitchens. Her company is a finalist in this year's Kitchen Showroom of the Year category with its new studio on Wigmore Street. Hi, Sofia. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you very much.
And then we have Michael Queen, the Group Marketing Manager for Thistle Kitchens and Bathrooms in Aberdeen, who are a finalist in this year's Bathroom Retailer of the Year category. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining me. So I think it'd probably be good to get a little bit of background on both businesses. So, Sofia, let's start with you. Could you give us a 10-second overview of Sola Kitchens?
Yes, absolutely. We set up 17 years ago now, and I started a company because I wanted to introduce bespoke Scandinavian design to the UK. I started 2006, and we have grown steadily over the years, and we have now 3 showrooms in London, which is Fulham, Hampstead, and now Wigmore Street. We have 24 full-time staff plus the fitting teams.
Okay, well, that's some growth, isn't it? And we'll talk more about that shortly. But Michael, let's hear from you about Thistle Kitchens and Bathrooms.
Thistle Kitchens and Bathrooms is probably the newest part of the Thistle Home Improvements Group. Thistle Kitchens and Bathrooms has been an entity since 2016, and the parent company, Thistle Windows and Conservatories, has been going since 1995. So we've got a long and healthy experience in the home improvement sector. And while Kitchens and Bathrooms is the newer part of our group, it's certainly something that we haven't gone into without the support of that wealth of experience and knowledge in general. And we've certainly been seeing the positive results from that over the last 3-4 years.
Fantastic. Okay, so really strong businesses there. I'm just going to go to you, Sofia. You're no stranger to the awards either. You've been a finalist in the design categories before. Sum up how it feels to have made the shortlist in the Kitchen Showroom of the Year category.
Really super exciting. We were completely thrilled, the whole team, when we were notified that we were finalists. As you've said, we'd been finalists before, but I think the showroom award, for us, it's very big, and particularly for a completely brand new showroom, and where we really put in our hearts and souls and time and sweat and tears into it to get it exactly how we want it. So it really is super exciting.
We'll talk about the showroom in a second because it is something very special. But Michael, over to you. While Thistle aren't new to the podcast, this is the first year that you've actually entered our awards, I think I'm right in saying.
Yeah, that's correct. The first year we've ever entered. So I guess that made the finalist announcement that just more special for us because we didn't really know what to expect. And particularly for the bathroom side of our business, when we look at Thistle Kitchens and Bathrooms, the kitchen side of things started up a little bit sooner than the bathrooms, which only really came into play at the end of 2020. So it's an incredible achievement for us to be a finalist, and we're still kind of pinching ourselves, every now and then just to kind of realize that it's a sign of just how far we've come with the bathroom side of our business in a relatively short period of time.
When you put it like that, actually, that really is an incredible story. So something we'll definitely come back to. But first of all, just to talk to Sophia about the Wigmore Street showroom. Was that always the dream, to have a showroom on Wigmore Street?
Yes, is the short answer. Even since when I started up, and I knew nothing about kitchen design when I started. My background is I was a solicitor for 10 years and made a bit of a U-turn in my career and started a kitchen company. But having been to Wigmore Street many times and been inspired by all the showrooms up here, and it really being the Bond Street for kitchens, it was always on my agenda to have a showroom here. And I've been trying for many years. I've actually been looking at, I think, 4 properties before this one over the years, but for various reasons it hasn't come through. But now finally we've managed to get a property, and it's exciting.
What was the idea behind the showroom design? Because there is a couple of really unique elements in there, and I'm particularly intrigued by the tree.
Oh, the old tree. Yeah, so what we wanted to do, we did quite a lot of research into what we wanted to do before we put pencil to paper to start to draw things up. And because we offer a lot of different type of styles. We don't only do super classic or super modern. We do very much eclectic styles, and we mix and match materials and colors and styles and all of that. And that has very much become our own style. And when you look at Wigmore Street, and also when you look at pretty much the UK kitchen showrooms, it's usually either very modern or it's quite classic. And particularly on Wigmore Street, it's very modern. It's German or Italian, most of the brands here, and it's handleless, flat fronted, modern, loads of shiny stone and things like that, all very beautiful. So as a newcomer, we wanted to try to do something very, very different. So we needed to create something at the front which brings people in to the showroom, and then create a journey which gives people something different to look at. So when they've been walking up and down the road and seeing all the big established international brands, to come in and say, oh, actually, this is different. We've created loads of different styles. It's all relatively modern, but we wanted to do a very homely feel to the showroom, and also very, very Scandinavian feel to it. And so people come in and it should feel calm and relaxing and inviting and friendly and super stylish at the same time. So the tree in the front, that actually came about quite late in the day. We've installed trees in kitchens a few times before. This one of our designers who was responsible for the main design of the showroom, she came up with, actually, can't we have a tree in the front planted in a floating breakfast bar with swings hanging from it? And my initial reaction was, no, we can't have that. But then I thought about it, and actually, we can probably pull that one off. So we started to sketch on it and plan all the structure and everything behind it. And it worked out in the end. It was a bit painful to get everything into place, but it worked out. And it really is a wow factor. Everyone who come in, they comment on the swings and the tree.
That's quite key, isn't it? You want to stand out on any high street, but particularly, in Wigmore Street when the competition is so high.
Absolutely.
That's quite key. Michael, you're in a different category as bathroom retailer, but a massive part of being a bathroom retailer is the showroom. So what can you add to Sophia's description there about what's key to having a strong showroom?
Sophia makes that point so very clearly. It's really about, standing out and making an impression. I do have to say as well, I am absolutely obsessed with that tree display, by the way, Sophia.
Thank you.
It really is amazing. I guess our kind of approach with the showroom is to stand out through the process of the customer journey through the showroom. So our aim is for that customer to reflect not just on what they've seen, I suppose, in the showroom, but to have a certain tangible feeling of it having been an overall experience, both in terms of what they've seen and how the members of our team have interacted with them, and how we've dealt with any queries that they have. And that's been quite a big focus for us. It's been that consideration of the customer journey, I suppose, and how that in itself can create the positive outcomes that we want as a showroom and a retailer and as a business.
Yeah, and actually it's interesting because, Sophia, you touched on that exact phrase, customer journey. So that was something that you also paid a lot of attention to in the design of the Wigmore Street store.
Exactly. You need something that draws in, and then you need the whole journey through the showroom to be exciting and with new things.
Just talking then about the Thistle, what was your approach, Michael?
When we kind of looked at the showroom initially, it wasn't a case of, these are the manufacturers we're going to use, these are the products we're going to use, how do we set them out? It was very much a case of, what do we feel customers want to see? What do we feel that would add value to their experience of choosing a new kitchen or bathroom? And then we kind of built the showroom back from that concept, which is arguably, I suppose, the way to do it. And what we do find with our showroom is that we've got a little bit of everything kind of sprinkled all around. So there's not a clear path, I would say, a clear distinct path to take through our showroom. We've always felt that's quite important. It's for people to carve out their own path, I suppose, and that's effectively what people are doing when they're choosing their kitchen or bathroom. But we've designed it in a way that wherever you go throughout the showroom, whatever path you take, there are always little things sprinkled here and there that we think are going to prompt people to ask a member of staff, kind of talking points. And we really feel that's the best way to do it, is to have people come into the showroom to feel welcomed, but not to feel pressured, and for them to approach our team rather than the other way around. And it's certainly a setup and a design that's worked very well for us.
Sophia, actually, that's quite interesting. Is that how it works in your showroom, or is it a different approach being in Wigmore Street?
It depends, to be honest, because our other showrooms, so in Fulham and Hampstead, they've been much more destination showrooms, so less of just footfall where people just come in and browse around. But with Wigmore Street, because being where it is, you have a much higher number of people basically coming into Wigmore Street, walking up and down the road and visiting basically every single showroom. So you will have a much higher number of people coming in who just want to browse a little bit, and they start to get their initial ideas. And of course, then we have a lot of meetings as well, where they sit down with the designers and start to discuss the kitchens. What we do with the designers is that they rotate between the different showrooms, which means that they can have a client who comes into Wigmore Street and do the first meeting here, but then maybe they are closer to Hampstead or Fulham, and then they can have the follow-up meetings there, and that works quite well.
How different is Wigmore Street's style to the other two London showrooms? Because although they are other London showrooms, is the difference quite vast?
Well, it's kind of the same style, but Wigmore Street is so much bigger. So we have about 150 square meter here showroom space compared to about 45 in Fulham and Hampstead. So Fulham and Hampstead, we've had to squeeze in much more on a much smaller space. And here we've got much bigger showroom with two very distinct different areas. And one area has nearly 5 meter ceiling height and large ceiling roof light windows, which just creates an amazing space. So we've been able to show much more here than we have been able to do in the other showrooms. So style is similar throughout all the showrooms, but it's just we're able to do more mixing, matching, and showing more variety at Wigmore Street.
Yeah, so it's almost like an extension as well of the other two.
Yes, yeah. Very much.
Michael, going back to the Thistle Kitchens and Bathrooms story, which is really quite incredible, as you touched on, you only introduced bathrooms in 2020 and now you're in the Bathroom Retailer of the Year category at the KBB Review Awards. So how have you got to this point? What do you think is the key to the success?
I think if we could distill it down to just one thing, if there was one thing we had to distill it down to, Rebecca, I would have to say it really is just down to the team and the people that work here. It has been quite a journey, particularly on the bathroom side of the business. Our showroom, including the bathroom side of the showroom, was originally meant to open in early 2020. We timed it exceptionally well. We had a staff opening party in February 2020, and we were about ready to throw open the doors in March. And of course,
oh dear.
COVID and lockdowns, and we very much had the rug pulled out from under us. So that was very hard for us as a team to take. There'd been so much investment and development to get to that moment to be ready to go, and then just to have it taken away from us was exceptionally hard. But again, returning as a business later on in 2020, getting things going again, that was really, really testament to our team. And it's not been, that was definitely not an easy period for any company, but we've managed to see things grow and develop from there. And particularly this first quarter of 2023, one thing we referenced in our entry was a specific target of turnover that we were looking to hit in 2023. And, after our first quarter, we're already over halfway towards that annual target that we set for ourselves. So the growth and the momentum that we've had over the last 3 years has been exceptional. And it really, I do have to put it down to the people I work alongside, because they've got so much passion and so much dedication to what we do. And, none of this would have been possible without them. Absolutely none of it.
Exactly. Behind every great business is the team, isn't it? And it's great that you can recognise that as well. Obviously, these have been some you touched on it, some very challenging years, personal perspectives, but business as well. The KBB industry was lucky in some respects. We actually had a boom time, didn't we? But that also brought with it some big challenges, the supply issues that have been well documented.
Oh dear.
Yes. So Sophia, that's obviously affected your business. How is that now? How are those challenges? How is the supply chain faring at the moment?
It's better, definitely better than it was, but it's still a lot of issues, I have to say, particularly on the appliance side. It just takes so long time to get anything. So even if we order it, things like sometimes 4 to 6 months in advance, we don't have all appliances when we're installing, and so frustrating for the client and for us, and also so costly because we have to ship separately, send over installers, get electricians, plumbers, this, that and the other. So it is still challenging. Some materials we also still have issues with long lead times, but a lot of it's starting to settle down, which is nice.
Well, yeah, that's good news. You've been retailing for 17 years, as you said. So how have you dealt with those kind of last minute changes to how you operate? Have you had to change how you put together designs and quotes? Because obviously prices have been changing in those periods.
A lot of things have changed, and I think for us we had a big hit summer 2 years ago when all the supply issues started to materialize and everything was delayed basically, and you have to start to call around clients and say things are going to be delayed and changing things, and that was horrendous and everyone was unhappy, including us. But then we quite quickly adjusted to that to basically inform clients much better that things will take longer. We increased our lead times to the clients. So we always used to work on an 8-week lead times from order to delivery, but now we're still working on a longer lead time, and mainly today to be able to get as many of the appliances as possible. And we've also changed things around, so we order up appliances much earlier on if we can. It's always tricky because something may happen, so the clients change their mind. But for the ones that are really long lead times, we still order them up early, before the final design and final contract are in place. So we are changing things around still to adjust, but I think the whole industry has now kind of started to learn how to deal with it. It's still difficult, though, I have to say, to use the COVID excuse to the client saying when things are delayed, because everyone else so fed up with a COVID excuse, but it still affects us.
Michael, what about Thistle? You're obviously a kitchen and a bathroom retailer. Have you experienced this on the appliance side and across the bathroom sector of the business as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty much everything that Sophia's described, we've also had to contend with ourselves in one way or another. And as much as, our supplier relationships are very, very strong, this is just something that's affected every possible supplier across the entire spectrum of the industry. I guess if I was to add something to the conversation there, I think what we've found, and what we tried to do as a company very, very early, kind of coming back after COVID and all the lockdowns, was just being as as open and honest with all of our clients as possible, and setting the expectations of unfortunately the unpredictable lead times across the supply chain. We found that that's been certainly helpful. I mean, it's certainly not in our interest for any supplies or installations to be taking longer than they need to be. But, our customers are very much aware from the beginning, and that's the case in the situation we're in. And now that we are 3 years down the line post-COVID, it's something that I think pretty much any client that walks into our showroom now will have an understanding of. I guess these things affect, not just our industry, but, everything across the entirety of the country. One thing that we've benefited on quite significantly, which I suppose balances out some of the issues that we've had with the supply chain, is when it comes to our installation resource. We've invested quite heavily in a trades academy, which we've used to kind of train our next generation of plumbers, electricians, kitchen fitters, joiners. So we've benefited from a steady flow of additional installation resource into our teams. And that's been very significant in trying to balance some of those issues. And it's something that arguably, if we could turn back the clock, we would have set that academy up a long time ago. Hindsight's always 2020.
Actually, I'd like to talk to you more about the academy. So that's your own apprenticeship, is it?
It is. So we use the academy as our kind of catch-all term for all of the trainee and apprentice positions that we take on. One thing we've always prided ourselves on as a company is we try wherever possible to directly employ our own tradespeople. And that's been core of our installation service offering for many, many years, going all the way back to 1995. So we have, I suppose, different streams for different positions. So we'll find that maybe some candidates who join us are better with on-the-tools learning as opposed to the more traditional college-supported apprentice routes. And that's certainly been beneficial for a number of young people who have joined us over the years. But it certainly gives us the flexibility to provide our own in-house training where required, engage with local colleges through formal apprenticeships where that's valid and necessary as well. But it's very much a key part of our overall HR and recruitment process now. It's ensuring that every year we've got an intake for what we see are going to be the key positions in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
That's really interesting because you're not only investing in your own business there, but you're actually bringing in and teaching the installers of tomorrow effectively for use by the whole industry. So it's quite commendable there as well. Sophia, how does the installation side work at Sola?
Well, we haven't had that much of a problem, to be honest. And I think the main reason is that we've been working with a number of teams for many years. So we have we don't employ our fitters directly. They are self-employed, but most of the ones we work with do a large amount of their work with us and have been working with us for some of them up to like 12, 13 years. So on that side, we actually haven't had that much of a problem.
Just thought I'd ask you guys, what is it really that motivates you to work in the KBB industry? And we'll go to you first, Sophia, as your story is quite interesting personally when you were a solicitor and you came into the KBB industry. So what is it that motivates you every day to sort of really push forward with the business?
Well, I think it's still very much the same reason from when I started. I love design. I love food and eating and cooking and everything that has to do with kitchens. So I really do have a passion for the product, and then being able to bring in something completely different to the market. And when we get the comments from clients and we see finished projects, and it is so amazingly satisfying to be able to deliver what we do. Yeah, that's what makes me get up of bed every day with a smile.
Brilliant. And Michael, over to you. What is it that motivates you and the rest of the team to continuously push every day?
Yeah, I guess for us, Thistle as a company has always been extremely highly rated in terms of our customer satisfaction. And one thing that we've used quite heavily over the years is very much an independent tool to show customers that we are exactly what we say we are, is for the core part of our business for many, many years, since the early 90s. Each of our customer installations has been independently audited by an independent standards organization. And consistently, over the last 25 plus years, we've been achieving those customer satisfaction rates of 97+% on a yearly basis. And I guess, there's, 25 years on, there's a real sense of kind of pride of that legacy that we've had. And despite all the challenges that have been thrown at us, we've never compromised on that core end result of customer satisfaction. And, I would say I've been with the company for 11 years now, and seeing a completed installation, whether that's a window or a door or an extension or a kitchen or a bathroom, to see a completed installation and, to follow that customer's journey all the way back to their initial inquiry, and just to know that they've been given the absolute best possible service at every point of that journey, that doesn't become any less satisfying to see at the end of the day. And I guess it boils down to, myself and the wider team. We know as a company we do a good job. We know that we deliver on the promises that we put to our customers and our clients. It's that drive to consistently be delivering those levels of satisfaction. As Sophia says as well, it's just, that's what gets you up and going at the end of the day. It's making people happy and giving people the kitchens, bathrooms, or home installations that they've dreamed of.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. And I mean, obviously, both businesses are clearly doing something right. I just want to finish on awards, as that was the theme of the whole podcast. What bit of advice would you give to other people that have been thinking about entering the awards but haven't had the confidence, perhaps, to put themselves out there? Sophia, over to you first.
Well, it's a no-brainer. It's just to do it. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen is that you don't get in as a finalist, and then you try the next year again. I think it's every business, small or large, doesn't really matter. Have the ability to put together a stunning design and just go for it. Try. Why not?
I couldn't have put it better myself, actually. Michael, what would you say to somebody who's thinking about entering but hasn't had the confidence to do so yet?
Yeah, I would certainly echo Sophia as well in saying that, there's certainly nothing to lose. It's an opportunity, and, you only really find out, what's going to come of that if you embrace it and you put yourself forward. But I would say as well that it's definitely certainly going through this finalist process and having, an official judge visit us and to go through everything that was part of that process. That in itself was a hugely beneficial experience for us to have somebody from outside the business with, significant industry experience to look at what we're doing and, to tell us what we're doing is right and to give us their opinion on ways that we could potentially improve ourselves in the future as well. It's a huge opportunity to put yourself open to constructive feedback and exceptional insight into what you do as a business. And, it's one of the key ways that as a business you're going to grow and develop and succeed in the future. It's definitely been an exceptional learning experience.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. Guys, I'm sure we could chat on all day, but it's been fantastic talking to you both. Really interesting, getting an insight into both businesses as well. And I suppose all I'm left to say is wish you good luck, and I'll see you at the awards.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's been amazing. Really enjoyed it.